Welcome back to the red carpet interviews for the 2026 induction ceremony into the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. Along with Sweet Lou, Jeff Luzatter behind the camera, the guy to my left here, the captain, Steve Crawl. I'm Dan Hill. To my right, my friend, my coach, Tim Terry. Tim, it's glad to have you here. I tell you what, I'm not ever going to call you Tim. It's still odd. You were a coach of mine 30 years ago. You'll always be coach because, as we're getting ready to talk about, you've pretty much always been a coach.
Well, it's my privilege that you're here to interview me. I by far, your family. I got to coach your brothers, your sister, yourself, and what an honor that was.
Well, it was. You started in 1966, before we get too far into it. 1966, he was a Pony League coach at 11 years old, and the rest is history.
Well, what happened there was a guy asked me if I would help him, and I was in Little League then, and Pony League was under us, and so I did, and it was my first experience in coaching. It's like, maybe that was the destination. I didn't know at the time, but I enjoyed it.
A couple things have changed since 1966, Coach, I think.
It sure has, yeah. Well, if you remember, the Little League parks had the stadium, and they had the wooden fences and all that, and it was good times back then.
Well, we'll get more into your career here in just a minute, but you're getting ready to give a presentation and officially be inducted into the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. Who you got here with you today?
Oh, my boys are here. TJ, Canton, Cooper, Easton, my wife.
There's some baseball names.
Yeah. But anyway, they're, Canton's wife, Callie, and Cooper's wife, Corbell, and we now have a granddaughter, Constance. Nice. And actually, Canton and Callie are expecting in February, so we'll have another one come along. But my mother's coming. She's 90 years old now, and Kim's mother, and my coaching staff, three of them are here. Christian Moda, Terry Lewis, and Rick Chubb are all coming in. So anyway.
Good. Well, baseball family, and I know that's one of your coaching mottos, just the family of baseball, a family of coaching, teaching kids to be, teaching kids to be men, kids to be adult women. You coached girls basketball for a long time as well. We'll get into your career here a little bit, but one thing I just wanted to kind of start out with is, you mentioned all your boys. They all played for you. How special was that? Some of them are coaching with you and against you now. I mean, how special is it just to be able to coach the whole family?
Well, it's been fantastic. Well, having them, even when they're little, they grew up on the field. So that was kind of like a neat thing. So they've always, been a part of something. But when TJ, after he graduated, he's helped me as being an assistant, and that's been fun. We did the North-South All-Star game with Cooper was playing, and that was as in Madison, Indiana, and that was a thrill.
Yeah.
And then we got to coach Tri-State All-Stars over in St. Louis Cardinals on their field 2 years ago, and Canton also helped on that. But Canton, he's at Danville now, and so the first game we played each other, it was kind of pretty neat. We had the press there and everything, and of course he didn't take it easy on me. He won both games, and last year we split, and then this year we go at it again. But he's doing a good job there. Cooper's in Charleston, South Carolina, going to law school. And actually, they had trouble getting up here. The plane got delayed, and then another one. And they were going to be here yesterday, but they're here now, so they made it here. And then the last one's Easton. So we're all, they're all here.
Well, Steve's going to go over your decorated and extensive career, and I can tell you just before I pass it over to him, it was an honor playing for you. I can tell you that, you had that perfect mix, I would say, of coaching with heart and coaching with a foot, and it was that foot, I think, that did it for me. But from the girls basketball to football to baseball, you've been part of the South Vermillion athletic culture going on 40 some years now. Steve, take us through this resume.
Well, Coach has spent all his life in West Central Indiana. He's a 73 graduate of Clinton, which is part of the consolidation to South Vermillion, and that's where he's coaching now. He went to Indiana State got bachelor's degrees and master's degrees there. 46 years of coaching. He's been at South Vermilion since '82. Started coaching outside of this 11-year-old gig at Turkey Run, and as most folks know, Turkey Run is just up the road from South Vermilion. He's been the District M Coach of the Year 2 times, the Conference Coach of the Year 10 times, 2-time North-South All-Star Coach. He's had 11 20-win seasons. He coached football for 3 years, girls basketball head coach for 34 years. He's in the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame, 8 sectionals, 10 conference championships, 1 regional. How is West Central, what's unique about West Central Indiana? You spent your whole life there.
I don't know. I guess I didn't move away. Of course, my mom was, she was still there. Dad passed away in '98, but I don't know. I just it's been part of my life, and I've just been there ever since. I haven't really wanted to leave, to tell you the truth.
Have you noticed? There's been a lot of changes. When you started out, or when you played, you were playing with wooden bats, and you coached, and here comes aluminum bats, but. And designated hitter and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What about the class sports aspect of it? I don't want to open up a can of worms.
Well,
we don't make this too long, but
I know.
Has that been different for or better?
Yes, I've never
worse?
liked it. I always liked one class,
Okay.
but anyway, yeah, it's changed a lot of things because actually you had to drive further to play sometimes to meet somebody in class.
The way you
staying right
craft
in
your
section.
schedule may be different because
Yeah,
of that, right?
right,
You play
yeah.
scores of your size
A lot
if you
goes
can.
with it. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can, you look back at some of the great teams you've had. Just a couple that come off the top of my head was, I believe it was '84 or '86. You had Ferrari, Doug Ferrari, and Ben Hill, my brother.
Battle 500.
Tom Chambers. You had a good group there. Ended up losing to Terre Haute North. And another crew was, I believe it was '96. It was Jerry Richardson, the Short brothers,
Right.
or cousins, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That team, that's 2 teams still in the class system that, you may have some state titles there. Those are a few names. Let's do some more name dropping. Let's look around the West Central Indiana Wabash River Conference, Western Indiana Conference you were in for a little bit. So first of all, as far as schools, South Vermilion, Riverton Park, which, you were coaching, I believe, when it might have been Montezuma at the time.
Right,
Yeah.
right, Montezuma, Rosedale.
in
where they
Rosedale.
had consolidated, yeah.
Then you got just some of the teams, Covington, Seeger, Park Heritage, which was Turkey Run and Rockville. I'm missing some. What am I missing here in that area? Seeger.
Brazil.
Oh, well, and then we grow up,
Buren,
right.
yeah.
Staunton, Van Buren, now Northview. Of course, the Terre Haute schools, Sullivan, always
Right,
another
right.
big rivalry. Who are some of the, there's some good coaches in that area, too. As far as the Brotherhood of Coaches, who are some of the other coaches in that area?
When I started, Don Jennings was at Terre Haute North.
Yeah. Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of. There was a Martin that was at Terre Haute South. Don Corey was at North Vermilion. I don't know if you
Yep,
remember Don.
he was coaching when I was there, yeah.
Let's see, Coach America.
Rockville?
Matt's, dad was at Rockville.
Gary Witham at Brazil, then Northview.
Gary was there
The
a long
DeGroats?
time.
West Vigo?
The Groat came along too. There's. Wish I could remember Sullivan's coach. He was
Craig Grow?
Who was it?
Was it Craig
No,
Grow?
it was
This
way
is
before that.
The Sullivan Golden Arrows.
Yeah, this was back in the '80s. Actually, it was his last game that we played each other in the sectional, and I cannot think of his name, but he was a legend there in Sullivan. But I saw a lot of, like I said, I saw a lot of coaches come through and some really good ones. But it's been my honor to be able to coach against some of these guys too.
Do you, with all the coaches that you had as assistants and being an athletic director as you were, did you see your job as coaching the coaches? Because all these people were under you, and presumably a lot of them were younger than you.
Yeah, most of the guys I have right now, except for TJ, I mean they've come from different areas that's coaching, but. And a lot of guys that I did have did come back and coach with me, so that's always fun. That's always nice. You like to see guys, come back and because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
looking at we name dropped some coaches there. What about some of the great your boys. I mean, which one that has the current batting average record is that?
That'd probably be Canton.
Canton?
We were in the WRC his junior year,
Yep.
and he led the batting title, and then we went to WRC, and he led it there too.
Yeah.
And he's thing about Canton. He was after his sophomore year, he led her in basketball, and he told me he's wanting to put a lot of time into baseball. And I said, Canton. I said, most people tell me that they get fat on the couch, they're not playing. But he put in about 2 hours a night. And anyway, one time I asked him, I said, how come you put so much, what motivated you? I wasn't behind him every night and stuff. He did all this pretty much on his own. He said when he was little, he was at banquets, and the seniors would come up and say, I wish I would have done more. It's over. He said, I didn't want to be that point. I wanted to be the best I could be. And he always wanted, he kind of wanted to play pro ball all his life. And he ended up going to Wabash, and he played some of the Rex, and then he went over to Cologne, Germany, and did get to play there.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, now he's at Danville. He loved the game.
And you've coached some good ones, and you've had a lot go to the college level. Do some other name dropping here. They're going to be watching this from Clinton, I'm sure, when they hear that their old ball coach has made it to the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. You're going to forget names, obviously. I'll give that predicate it by that for you. But let's go through the years. Some of the people that played for you.
That first year in '82, I took over. A lot of those guys I had Babe Ruth also. But anyway, George Frazier, Steve Smith was my two pitchers.
That Peprack and that group too, or were they already gone?
No, they were 79.
Okay.
That group, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. There was Latinovich and let's see, Milan was on the team. Pritchard. Dave Whitaker was faster and crazy in
all the
center
Whitakers,
field. Brian McLeish, he was in right field there, and there was pretty good guys in that team. I think '85 we had Brett Gilman. Let's see, that's Doug was throwing for us.
Doug Ferrari, yeah. You had Bucher also with.
Yeah, there's a Bucher.
Brad
mixed and I'm trying to think who else was with that. Brent Scott was on that team also. Then '88, Mike Frazier threw, George's little brother. He and Jamie Perry. But Mike, I'll never forget. He was a little guy his freshman year.
Yeah.
And anyway, back then we cut, and I wish that, but we ended up getting smart, and I said, let's have a C team. Everybody play in April, and then now we find out who can play, and then they'll finish in May, and the other guys can go do another sport. But you can't. How do you tell in 3 days what guys can do? But anyway, my assistant goes, well, this little guy here, I don't think he's
that was a good decision.
Going to make it. And I said, wait a minute, I grew up with the Frazier family. I played with his dad, and I knew Joe well. He ended up, I think he was 11-2 or something his senior year, and we beat North and South.
North and South, same day, yeah.
So, there was some really good times. I had, there was Coma on that team, Tickle.
Panagolius, I think.
Pangolius was on there, Maurice, Paul Maurice was there. There was a Pyramid there, caught for
Catcher.
us. But that was a pretty good team also.
Some of those names you're throwing out, I believe you've coached some father-son duos. Am I right with that?
Yeah, the Pangolius is
Pangolius,
one of them, for sure. Well, when those guys came up in 2018, 17, 18, in that era, we won some sectionals and stuff, but I let the parents bring their trophies back in, and they all got to take pictures with them and stuff. So that was kind of neat. But that was some really, really good times and a good group of guys. When it's obvious when you have good teams, you got good parents.
Yeah.
And I had some really good ones right there. They're real competitive and knew what to say, to the kids probably. Also when they got home, but it was a lot of fun doing that again.
Who are you gonna thank tonight?
No, geez. Well, of course, my family and stuff. The guys that's here, I got to think Kyle Kramer. He's the one that nominated me.
Terre Haute South.
He's probably be a Hall of Famer one day.
Yep.
I think he's won over 500 games. But Jeff McCoon, I've known him for a while. That guy knows players like crazy. He ought to be. Well, I told him he's got to get back in high school coaching again. Of course, Brian Abbott, the things he's done for for this organization, and he's been really good to me as far as patience with the technology, because I grew up with Bill Jones and
Yeah.
everything was paper.
Yep.
But so those guys are of course important for our program and what they do. Of course, my boys, my mom, my dad. Dad grew up in East Tennessee. Probably the most common sense person I ever knew in my life.
Yeah.
It's one of those, the older you get, the wiser they become.
Yeah.
But and then I go back to high school, and I had a guy that my basketball coach had me come in and go see the English teacher for some reasons, so I'd be eligible for basketball. That was Ron Hendricks. He's been he actually when I got out of college, he was at Brownstown Central, and he said he got me an interview there, and I did could have taken it, but I ended up staying at Turkey Run.
Yep.
It was closer. Don Shear was my baseball coach, and he called me when I was at Turkey Run and said, "Would you want to come back here?" I just took the AD job, and they said, "It'll be your job, be an assistant 1 year." So, make a long story short, I ended up doing it, and I remember at the end of the year, he came up and he said, "Well, it's yours now." And I said, "Coach, I got all the respect in the world for you." I said, "I don't mind being your assistant." I said, "If you want to keep, coaching," he said, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Tim," he said, "when it's time to go, it's time to go. When it's time to retire, you'll know." And he said, "It's time for me to retire." I'll never forget him saying that. But anyway, he was a great person too. That I can think at ISU, Jim Riddell was the coach at the time. He left and went to Rose Holman, and Bob Warren came in.
Bob Warren. So you were there at the changeover for Bob Warren coming in. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I hurt my arm pretty bad in football, and I was still trying to get through. And it became, do I get an operation or do I, hang it up? And I hung it up. But both of those two were class acts. I used to work, and he had me come back and work his baseball camps, in which I took a lot of that, what I learned there, into my baseball camps. But I look at that change in life. Things seem like it changed. But then I went back in Clinton, and during the time I was going to college, I was coaching Babe Ruth baseball and CYO basketball and youth football, and I was assistant actually at North Maine football too. But it's funny how directions change, and it was good, because now I'm coaching before I got into so yeah.
Well, between the three of us up here, there are 2 representations in a Hall of Fame. Tim Terry's got them both. That's the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame that you were nominated in last year. You're getting ready to go into the 2026 class to the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. Absolutely my pleasure. Coach Terry, it'll always be Coach.
Oh, well, thank you.
We'll be right back. Thanks, folks. The next interview at the red carpet interviews for the 2026 Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies.
Is a 1973 graduate of Clinton High School. Was head coach at Turkey Run in 1980. And he has been the head coach at South Vermilion High School since 1982, with 667 wins and an amazing career to stay. And he's coached a lot of sports to stay at that school all these years. I'm proud to announce our 222nd inductee. It's Mr. Tim Terry.
Yeah, I was at the ABCA clinic 2 weeks ago, and I'm walking down the hall, and I see this great big poster, Terry Gobert, Hall of Fame of the ABC.
I put it up the night before. Thank you.
But he's been something else, I tell you. We're proud of him. Coming out here, seeing all these people and things reminds me when I was a senior in high school. It was a basketball banquet. Anyway, I figured I'd get the MVP award, so I sat up front. And so they went through all the awards and all that. And finally got to the MVP, and this kid, he worked hard, played in pain, leader of the team. He kept going on, and the award winner is Well, I couldn't stand it no more. I jumped up, and it wasn't me. So I immediately led a standing ovation for my teammate. I got to thank a lot of the guys up here. Jeff McCune, I said we're missing out. He needs to be a high school coach. He knows players like unbelievable. He's an amazing person. When we're talking about players for all-stars and stuff, he can name them off and tell you what their stats are. Brian Abbott, he probably grins at me because I'm so good at technology. I don't know how many times, of course I was a Bill Jones era with paper, and I don't know how many times I'd be, getting a hold of him. I can't get this, I can't get that. At one time, I don't know if he remembers this, it was a password, and I couldn't get. And anyway, I'll give you this password. I know you'll probably forget it, but it was a pretty tough one. He said, try this one. Capital PASSWORD 1 2 3 4, and it worked. I sure appreciate everything he's done also for me. Kyle Kramer, who put me into the Hall of Fame, or nominated me for the Hall of Fame, Tar Heel South coach. I got to thank him. He's another Hall of Famer, I'm sure. He's over 500 wins there. But anyway, when you get up here, it's all because of your players, their parents, your assistant coaches you've had all these years, your family, and of course God, who led you in the direction. It seems like that's what ends up going. You get, even in life, everything seems to take you to the place you ought to be. My dad passed away in '98, but he grew up in the East Tennessee mountains of Tennessee. Probably the most common sense person I ever met in my life. The older I got, the wiser he became. My mom, I don't know what to say, she's 90 years old now, and she still makes me humble. One of my friends said, remember we used to play in the backyard? Well, back in the old days, we didn't have private lessons or anything. We just played ball all day, and she would call for us to go in. Either we had a Little League game or a Babe Ruth game, and of course we probably already pitched, I don't know how many times, and there was no pitch counts back in, but we played. But they said, remember the sandwich she used to make us? This nutritional sandwich? I said, well, I forgot. Well, you know how you get peanut butter and jelly? This was peanut butter and marshmallow. I don't know if anybody ever had one of those, but that's what we had for nutrition back here, I guess. My wife, she's been with me, she went to all the ball games. She's helped me out so many times. I remember we're at Wabash and they ring the bell to go into Wabash at the last thing they say, but it was really hot that day and they gave us all fans. I looked around, I said, how come everybody's got W's and I got an M? She says, turn it around. So I did. I was going down the highway one day. She called, she said, this guy, the news just flashed, she said, there's a guy going the wrong way on a one-way. I said, well, what do you mean one guy? I passed 5 of them already. But Kim, the day that TJ was born, we had a doubleheader against Attica, and she's sitting out there and got the worst sunburn in the world, and then had him at night. So she had to be in misery. But what a wife! I'm really lucky to have her. So I love both of them, my mom and my wife. They're 2 special people. The boys said, don't say too much. I won't say too much. But TJ's my first, and he won a sectional for us. We'd been a while since we'd done it. He'd been an assistant coach with me, and these guys have given me an opportunity for me and him to coach in North-South all-star games. And one of the best was with Dave Bradshaw, and we've been friends ever since. It was at a great time. Cooper was playing. What a family affair. There was Canton, my second one. One day he lettered in basketball. And he said, I'm gonna work for baseball. I said, well, these guys that work say they're gonna do this, they get fat and they sit on a couch. But he worked real hard. He led the conference, and the conference we were in. We were the smallest one in hitting, and he did it in the WRC the next year. Went to Wabash, played for the Rex. And then he always wanted to play pro ball, and he went to Cologne, Germany, and played. Now he's a coach at Danville. Then there's Cooper. He was like the golden child when he was little. Everything he could do was just so simple to him. He led us to the Final Four, and he actually his career could have been more too. He went to Wabash and he hurt his arm. He had to operate on it and didn't come through. But he went a different route. Again, I think the Lord, puts us that way. Now he's in Charleston, South Carolina, going to law school. And then there's Easton. Easton threw the only game I ever remember a perfect 7-inning baseball game. He went to Franklin. The soccer coach wanted him more in baseball, so he's been their goalie for the last 2 years. So anyway, all the people sitting here, I really thank you for being here. I should have mentioned Corbell. It's Canton's wife, and we got a little grandchild now. That's Cooper's wife. We got a grandchild now, Constance, and she's about 3 months old. So I know it's probably too young to have a grandchild, but and Canton's got one coming up too with Callie. She's going to be he's going to have a boy in February. So I'm real proud of all the people, my assistant coaches that came here, and Kim's sister, and Scott Bell. First time I met him, we were looking at this. Remember when they used to have the Hoosier baseball thing? Anyway, we was looking at it, and I'd had a super season coaching. I look in there, and he was the star for Richmond. So, what a deal. But I won't keep going on. I'll stop at that, except for, coaches have been an influence on you. And I went to Indiana State. You guys probably don't remember Jim Riddell. He was there. I played for him some, and Bob Warren came the next year. Well, I'd hurt my shoulder in football in high school. I had to make a decision whether to keep playing or get an operation. Well, I quit, and so I started coaching in the town. So I was coaching Little League, Babe Ruth, CYO, basketball, football, things like that. But that was such a good start to get before I even got in to coaching in high school. But one of the things that changed my life, I was a sophomore in high school, getting ready to letter in football, and Mrs. Rafato, my English teacher, that was the only foreign language I ever took, she actually gave me an F, so I flunked off the team. But honest God, it was the best thing that could have happened. I still tell my athletes that. I hope teachers, don't look at you as an athlete and pass you, because my basketball coach came in, and we had to meet in the mornings, and then I got a good grade after that, and I never made another bad grade. I tell my players I made straight A's all my life. Jeff says, sure. Well, I prove it. This is straight, that's straight, and straight. I have trouble with B's, but anyway. So I get, and actually Ron Hendricks had, he was at Brownstown Central and called me and asked me if I wanted to be an assistant coach with him when I got out of college. Well, I ended up going to Turkey Run because it was closer. But 2 years later, Don Shearer, who was a great coach at our place, and I played for him, said that he was athletic director, and now he's going to hang it up. He would like me to take over. So I said, okay. So I came back. I was assistant coach with him for 1 year. He said, Tim, the job's yours now. And I said, Coach, I got all the respect in the world for you. I'll be happy to be your assistant. He said something I'll never forget. He said, Tim, when it's time to retire, you'll know, and it's time for me to retire. So anyway, from 82 on, I've been the coach at South Vermillion High School, and I really appreciate all the kids and everybody's played for us. Let me do one more thing. I'm not going to tell the head story. I am going to finish with a couple things we try and we tell our kids that we hope they take with them. is do what's right, don't do what's wrong. If you think it's wrong, you're right. That's real simple. And the other one is when things go bad, this is usually my Easter speech, give it 3 days. You know, Jesus was crucified, 3 days later he rose, he'll help you out. And I've had so many athletes tell me that's so true. And if you think about it, it really is. All right, my last thing. Many years ago, I wrote this like the late 80s, and I call it the baseball game of life. And I read this to the seniors at the end. We're the last ones that's going to be with them because, you know, they had football, basketball, baseball. Well, this is it. So this is a part of being old. So anyway, I call it the game of life. At the end of the baseball player's final season, the preacher came up and told the players, "Son, now you will begin a bigger game, the game of life. It's the biggest and most important game you will ever play. On your team at first base, you'll have honesty. Played second base is honor, shortstop is confidence, and third base will be dignity. In the outfield, you will have desire in left, dedication in center, reliability in right. Your catcher's ambition. You are the pitcher. So the game is in your hands. You have a great bench for substitutions. They are self-esteem, imagination, attitude, intelligence. You can bring them you can bring more into your team as the game goes on. You also have a bunch waiting to get into your dugout. They are the toxic ones. Liars, cheaters, selfish, lazy. Don't let them in. You have the greatest coach in the world. His name is God. He's written a book for you. He's written a rule book for you. It's called the Bible. It has all the answers in it. God has given you the best assistant coaches you could have. They are your parents. They will be there for you when no one else will. They will do anything for you the rest of your life. Treat them with respect. You also have some volunteer coaches. They are your grandparents. They will step up for you every time you are in need. Don't forget them. Your goal is to reach the pearly gates, the gates of heaven. Now here's the ball. Let's see what you can do. Wish you the best. Again, I want to thank everybody, all the Hall of Fame members, and you guys up here. Thank you for the time you've given me. Thank you.